Understanding is gone. But even giving a darn is gone. People are more offended at certain words that have different meanings than they think they do than in our little brothers and sisters. People say, why do you always focus on that? Because your silence or the silence of the church is the blood of the innocents. And God said, if you will not accept my mercy, it'll be an eye for an eye. Well, if 125 million kids have been butchered, destroyed, sacrificed, how many people are going to die in America? And that's why I want to bring you to, I think, the first big mass casualty event that's coming in America. So I want to take everybody to Cascadia, not because I made a movie, but I'm noticing something in pattern recognition. And there are, fortunately, people I can reach out to around the world. God did it. I didn't. You be faithful, Steve, to warn my people of what's coming. I'll bring the people to know to tell you. I said, Lord, I live in Bozeman, Montana. You know? He said, I'll bring people to you. For the record, Doug, when I'm walking in obedience, I've never had to seek out anyone.
That's a great statement. But
it is.
And that's an instructive, to me, that's an instructive statement. I just want to say that. And folks, by the way, please go to stevequayle.com. I'm going to give you a sales pitch here, because if you want to see something that is really astounding, it's Cascadia, the big one, or Cascadia is the big one. And that's one of the finest DVDs I've ever seen in my life, and one of the most hair-raising ones as well. But thank you, Steve, for the investigative work product that you put out in the form of that DVD. Go ahead, sir.
Well, first of all, I want to share with people what's going on with the USGS. To my knowledge, I instructed people that something unusual is happening in the last 2 years. Triple earthquakes and quadruple earthquakes happening at the same point within a minute or two at the most. I called them stacking quakes. Now I call them jackhammer quakes. Because when you see somebody on a jackhammer trying to basically split a piece of concrete, not only do they come at it in a sheer perpendicular to the concrete, in other words, straight up and down, but they take it an angle, the jackhammer, because they're trying to cause fractures at all angles that are, let's say this, vectoring, that just means going off a different angle, against the concrete. That's what's happening in the oceans. When I posted one of my final alerts, the USGS will only post one of them, but we've had 4 7.9s in off the coast of Japan, and they even let a little something like this slip. Oh, there's a 23-foot tidal wave, but and some of the Fukushima was breached. Look up all the power plants, nuclear power plants on the coast of Japan. Look at them. Look at them. But I noticed something, Doug, that was interesting. All I'm saying is take it to the Lord in prayer. The USGS has shut off, this is coming from 3 different scientists, has indeed shut off all the data from Alaska to South America and the entire West Coast. The whole West Coast data pool has been shut down. The order came from the head. He's still trying to find out. The head, who I'm trying to, and he's trying, my source trying to find out who gave the shutdown order. In essence, the biggest natural disaster in the United States history is getting ready to happen. Now, I said that, 6 months ago or whatever. But as Paul Begley made the statement when he put me on a show a year ago, and I don't remember when we first started talking, Doug, he said, the Lord woke me up and said, Paul, I want you to focus on Cascadia. That's on his channel, and that was an interesting show. But I want to make this clear, you guys. The USGS has shut off all data from Alaska to South America and the entire West Coast. The whole West Coast data pool has been shut down, trying to find out who gave the order. But it was given to the USGS under the threat of their jobs, their pensions, and their life. Dave Hodges knew a I won't even say which he knows of a high-ranking geologist, seismologist in a major university, and they had a meeting. And the person said, I'll deny we had this meeting, but we all had to sign NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, on threat of our business, of our retirement, of our salary positions, of our retirement, and for our lives. That's how serious these guys are taking to block the truth. Next, there are grave levels of subsurface activities occurring along the entire west coast of North and South America. I said, give me some other geologists' exact statements. Geologist 1, people should expect an event not less than a 9.5 magnitude on the upper coastline of the Cascadia area due to the deep rupture in the Cascadia subduction zone. 2 terms, real simple. Subduction is when one plate goes under the other, Pacific plate. Overthrust is when one goes over the other. But there's another one. It's a twisting or a torsion going on the plates. As the torsion goes on the plates, in other words, take a towel, wring it out, just the minutest amount of torquing sets into effect a whole lot of seismic problems. Next scientists. 3 different scientists in this. From the data and models running, expected at any moment, when the explosive force of more than 1,000 Hiroshima-sized bombs exploding at the same time. Many of you who are watching the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network notice if you took your finger and poked, like, just right down like you're going to tear off a dotted line. That's what's been happening on the West Coast. So it went from, I think the last time I posted 2 days ago, there were 156 seismic to absolutely nothing being posted. That should make everybody wake up. Geologist number 2, beyond the first one. The first one is separate from the second one, and so there's 3 of them. Geologists, too, expect that the event will cause an ultra-destructive tsunami which will reach Japan and cause more Fukushima-type events to occur due to the massive wall of water moving across the Pacific Ocean. Also expect a significant wobble in the rotation of the Earth due to such a large mass of water moving at a high speed across the ocean. I said, so what's the consensus? At the end of data, at the end of scientific, at the end of people that had to flee for their life, give me the bottom line. Everyone agrees that both the USGS as well as FEMA, Federal Emergency Management Groups, are in panic about what's about to occur in the Cascadia area. After that, I got another heads up that everybody who's of any, if you will, position and authority is putting in for, if you will, leaves, and they all leaves, meaning they want to get away from their current position. They want to head to the east side, to the east side of the Cascadias. Go look at Henry Gruver's vision on my website concerning when he saw Russia attack the United States. Basically, I'll make it simple. They land, they pretty much destroy the U.S., and you're having all this stuff happening. You're having it all happen, ladies and gentlemen. Well, all the volcanoes in the United States along the subduction or the Cascadia subduction zone from Canada, southern Canada, Victoria, BC, all the way down to Mount Shasta, over to Mammoth Lakes, and then, ladies and gentlemen, a fracturing up literally the border between Nevada and California, up into the geysers. Does not sound like a good place to be. When? Doug, we have if you will, an unusual mentality in America. Only when do most do. Does that make sense?
Perfect sense. Absolutely.
So in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, well, it's just coming out of your mouth. I don't believe it. Fine. Fine. It's not about me. It's about you. My calling is to deliver the information. What you do with it, your calling.
But there's science behind it, Steve. It's not really, I mean, there's scientific evidence behind this.
Oh, absolutely. I can tell you this. I pointed out, I got a lot of interesting people didn't like me saying what I'm going to say to everybody. You could have tracked in real time all the NASA flights, all of the CIA and U-2 flights up and down the coast. There were over 10,000 sorties. Sometimes just take a whole year, multiply it by 3, you get 1,000. But there were multiple agencies flying multiple sensors. Some of these sensors have $500 million instruments on it. $500 million. There are sensors on satellites with cameras that cost $1 billion. $1 billion. They were all so concerned. Not only did they fly up and down, and they flew into Idaho, but they only made 2 flights over Yellowstone. Yellowstone's going to blow. Yellowstone's going to blow. You hypocrite. You live in the range of Yellowstone. I said, well, listen, you call me what you want. And I have literally told certain people on the internet, never email me again. All the experts that used to talk to me, quote unquote, had never been to Yellowstone one time, okay? Not one time. The Yellowstone experts read something or go to a movie, whatever it was, the one that was famous about Yellowstone, the name escapes me. Being the super volcano that went off and destroyed the world. No, but I'll tell you what I asked my sources. I said, tell me what's going on in Tambora and Krakatoa, 2 of the biggest volcanic explosions ever recorded in contemporary history. I'll read you this on Mount Tambora. The 1815 Tambora eruption is the largest and most devastating observed eruption in recorded history. A comparison with other major eruptions listed below. The explosion was heard 1,600 miles away, and ash deposits were registered at a distance of 810 miles. And then they go on to basically say the devastation caused. By the way, that was the year there was so much volcanic ash and soot and hydrogen sulfide taken up in the atmosphere stratosphere that they referred to that year as the year without summer. Oh, it was the year of great famine. So let me give you one more thing to ponder. Somebody says, well, you shut up. No, I won't shut up. You need to hear this. Already the food sources, especially in Texas, the cattle, the livestock industry. Oh, by the way, 40% of the petroleum that's refined that gets distributed through the United States, guess what? The refineries are shut down. The amount of livestock loss is horrific. That was a weather warfare. And we don't need to go into that again. Bill? What do you assume that you knew before, ladies and gentlemen? I'm talking to Texans now. What do you assume that Texas was like before this orchestrated weather warfare attack on Texas? Texas's economy, its livestock industry, its oil industry, and the people of Texas themselves. Because 2 things. Texas can legally secede, and I believe it's up to 34 federal lawsuits, Doug, maybe you know this better than I, but that have been filed against the false voting results around the country's voting machines. Gee, why would anybody want to destroy Texas at this point?
Yeah.
It's beyond my... So here, let me tell you something else so interesting. I won't even tell you who, because most people, they don't care. But 2 of the most evil and wicked entities on the planet, 2 of them. One's a literal fallen angel manifesting as a human being, and also one of them is a religious figure, totally demon-possessed, okay? Why did 6 months ago they go around the world and initiate occult ceremonies and release the ceremony of release under those things that were held in the volcanoes. I was wondering, why are everybody throwing Vestal virgins in